If you are a multi-talented, multi-passionate creator who is just a rainbow soul of a human being with a range of styles and interests and emotions and passions, and you've been told to niche yourself down, and that felt like squeezing yourself into a too tight box, I'm going to teach you how you can grow your brand without feeling like you are flattening yourself. My name is Victoria Strong. I'm a brand designer. I've been designing brands since 2018, and there was a time where I would say that niching down would have been the best strategy for quickly growing your audience. But that time has come and gone, thank God. So people who historically have felt like they were too much, like they were going in too many different directions, now is your time to shine because you are actually exactly what the internet wants to see right now. Because we're moving back to wanting to follow personalities and following for entertainment. People aren't following for what you do, they're following you for how you do it. Because there's just tons of creators online and there's more and more all the time. If, for example, you make content about astrology, there are thousands of astrological content creators that people can choose from right now. So what's going to make people choose you is your hook, plus your personality, plus your perspective. So let's look at some of my personal favorite examples right now so you can see what I mean. Okay, first up is Levi Corlin. You know her, you love her. She has over 1 million followers. If she was creating in a time where niching was more important, you could say her niche was relationship content, but we actually see a lot more than that from her. It's part relationship content, part food content, part fashion, part lifestyle. Her niche, okay, we'll say relationship content. Her personality is very humorous and like classy and refined, but in a way that is like really grounded and not full of herself. And that realness is what makes her an interesting follow. It's this complex, real human personality that is unique from anybody else because we all have very different personalities. And then her lifestyle. It's beautiful to see a woman being so loved, to have such beautiful clothes, to have such good food. Her lifestyle, the house she lives in, the things she does on a daily basis, that's what we follow for. That's what we want to see. Okay, next example is Nioli. This is one of my favorite follows right now. She has 1.5 million followers. Her niche changes all the time because she owns several different businesses and she kind of cycles through what her niche is based on what she's promoting. Right now, she's really focused on her talent agency and how she makes her clients famous. But overall, the niche, it's so broad. It's just what it is to be a rich and successful and fun and creative business owner. That's why I love to follow her, is because of her personality. She's a very creative problem solver. The way she approaches her business is very different from other business owners that I follow. I love business content. I could be following 1 million different business owners who make content on business, but I follow her because her personality is so bright and it's fashionable and it's interesting and it's like it's cutthroat. There's no nonsense. Like, she can be very direct and kind of harsh at times, but also like very kind and very interesting and very creative. In her lifestyle, she shares about what it's like to date. We see little glimpses of her dating the guy in the condo across from hers in this like beautiful $1 million New York apartment. She talks about her assistants and all the different people who help run her life. So it's just interesting to peek into different lifestyles, and that is what makes her content so engaging. Another one I'm loving right now is C Gets Naked. She has 850,000 followers. She's a professional dancer. So her niche, we could say is dancing at clubs. And that's actually a really good topic to start with because it's kind of the first time in history that has been destigmatized enough that we can have a peek into people's lives. But she does not stick to that niche. She shares her lifestyle. She's a horse girl. She has a beautiful partner. She has a business aside from her dancing, and she wants to be like a lawyer and a doctor and all kinds of things. So her lifestyle, even though it's like not as like huge and grand, and aspirational as, for example, Neoli's, it's just interesting to see somebody else's life. And then her personality, once again, is the real hitter. She's like so kind and quirky and real and feels like someone you already know. And so that's why she is the only stripper I follow. So I kind of want you to start thinking of your content in this way. It's like, yeah, like you want a topic that your stuff kind of orbits around, that revolves around something that you get known for, but don't turn it into a box that you have to stay inside of. There's so much more exploring to do and so much more that everybody wants to see from you. So what is an online brand in 2026? It's not your colors, it's not your logo, although depending on what you're doing, those could be important. Your face is your brand. Your reputation is your brand. Your vibes are your brand. And the weird combination of all the things you love, all the styles you resonate with, all the interests you have, the combination of all those things is entirely unique to you. Nobody else is going to have the exact same combination of all those things. And that combination creates a flavor so unique, so real, so delicious. That's what people are following you for. The combination, the fullness of who you are. And actually, the things that feel hardest to combine are the things that are most brand gold. For example, if we're talking about like brand aesthetics and you are already checked out because you're like, you know what, I am equal parts fairy in the woods as I am goth girl, and I just can't choose between those two vibes. I've tried to choose, I've tried to push myself into one and stay there, or the other and stay there. Those two things together, goth girl fairy in the woods, is perfect. You know what I'm saying? Like the weirder and more mismatched things seem to be, the more magnetic that is. And the funny thing about branding is that it's something that happens to you with or without you being intentional about it. So even if you haven't sat down and intentionally defined your brand and made moves to like project that on purpose, you have a brand. Your brand is what people are saying about you. So do this with me. Think of like the first creator that comes to your mind, someone you've seen online recently, and think of like how you would describe them. So for the examples I already went through, I would describe Neoli as that Russian girl who's a rich boss in New York City. I would describe C as the pink-haired stripper horse girl. I would describe Levi as the hot petite redhead with the gorgeous husband. If someone was boiling down your brand to that much, what would you hope they would say about you? What would you hope to be known for? And if you are selling something, if you have a business besides content creation, you probably want the kinds of things you're selling to show up in that kind of one-liner about you. Now, just because those one-liners exist doesn't mean you have to reduce yourself down to a one-liner. All those people are so much more than those one lines. They express so much more than those one lines. But our little human consumer brains latch onto the things that are most memorable about them. And having memorable things about you, being memorable, is what makes your brand strong enough to build trust and get customers. By the way, this is part 2 in a series about building your dream business. Last week we talked about goal setting, and this week we're talking about building the brand that will actually convert customers to help you reach those goals. Now, for most people, like I said, you already have a brand, so you're not necessarily sitting down to invent a brand. You are sitting down to discover it. If you are a journaler, take out your journal and just fill a whole page with things that you love, things that fire you up, also things that you hate. That's also part of your brand. Just the things that like fire you up, that spark you. If you already have content up, you can look at comments of what people say to you or about you. If there's like compliments or phrases that friends tell you on repeat, like people always tell me I have a calming energy. So that's part of my brand. Those things that get repeated to you are reflections of what you are projecting out. Another method for discovering your brand is simply posting a lot more, because you probably have some patterns in what you're already posting, but it's so sparse that it's hard to connect the dots and see the patterns. So if you start doing it a lot more, it'll get clearer and clearer. So rather than trying to design a brand for yourself, notice the brand that's already there, the parts that bring you the most joy, and just turn the volume up on what's already happening. And if you are looking to grow, which I'm assuming you are if you're here, you may want to pick a main thing, a main niche, but don't feel like that has to be all your content. We want to see your personality, we want to see your lifestyle even more than we want to just see that one thing. And when you make content about that one thing, we want to see it through the lens of your perspective and your personality. When this video is over, go ahead and write down your target one-liner without too much pressure. It's not final, you can refine it. But especially if you're selling something, you gotta hone in on what you want to be known for. And then join us next week for part 3. We're gonna be talking about lazy marketing because marketing is the lifeblood of your business, and it can also feel really soul-sucking when you're doing way more marketing than you're doing your actual work. So I'm going to teach you easier marketing strategies that work in 2026. Also, thank you to everybody who has subscribed so far. I invited my first 60 subscribers to receive a print postcard from me in the mail. 7 people accepted, and I brought those to the mailbox today, and that was really fun to do. And if you think that's awesome, wait till you hear what I have planned for 500 followers because it's about to get a lot cooler in here. Okay, see you next week.